Shalom, saints. Let us praise our Elohim with the song taught to our ancestor Abraham, as it is said, sing praises to Yahuwah every day. Eternal, mighty, holy Elohim only, supreme, thou who art self-originated, incorruptible, spotless, uncreate, immaculate, immortal, self-complete, self-illuminating, without father, without mother, unbegotten, exalted, fiery one, lover of men, benevolent, bountiful, jealous over me, and very compassionate. Eli, that is, my Elohim, eternal, mighty, holy Sabaoth, very glorious El, 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 Joel, thou art he whom my soul hath loved. Eternal protector, shining like fire, whose voice is like thunder, whose look is like lightning, all-seeing, who receiveth the prayers of such as honors thee. Thou, O light, shinest before the light of the morning upon thy creatures, and in thy heavenly dwelling places there is no need of any other light than of the unspeakable splendor in the lights of thy countenance. Accept my prayer, likewise also the sacrifice which thou hast prepared thee through me who sought thee. Accept me favorably, and show me, and teach me, and make known to thy servant as thou hast promised me. Hallelujah. Shalom, saints. Today's walk we will continue from the Lost Books. The first Gospel of the Infancy of Yahusha HaMashiach. We will cover, with the Most High Yah's blessing, chapters 5 through 8 of the 22 chapters. As I do in my previous walks, I would kindly like to remind you, saints, that all literature is written by man, but the divine truth comes from our Most High Elohim. We must always pray for our discernment from our heavenly Abba. Remember, all mankind are liars and fall short of his glory. Our Elohim has mercy on who he wants to have mercy. In this fear for him, which is the first steps for wisdom, obtain the salvation. So let us begin. Chapter 5. Now Joseph and Mary, when they heard of the idol was fallen down and destroyed, were seized with fear and trembling, and said, When we were in the land of Israel, Herod, intending to kill Yahusha, slew for that purpose all the infants of Bethlehem and that neighborhood. Also see Holy Bible, Matthew 2, verses 16 through 18. There is no doubt but the Egyptian, if they come to hear that this idol is broken and fallen down, will burn us with fire. They went therefore hence to the secret place of robbers, who robbed travelers as they passed by their carriages and their clothes, and carried them away bound. These thieves upon their coming heard a great noise, such of the noise of a king with a great army and many horses, and the trumpets sounding at this overture from his own city, at which they were so affrighted as to leave all their booty behind them, and fly away in haste. Upon this prisoners arose and loosed each other's bonds, taking each man his bags. They went away, and saw Joseph and Mary coming towards them, and inquired, Where is that king, the noise of whose approach the robbers heard, and left us, so that we are now come off safe? And Joseph answered, He will come after us. Chapter 6. Then they went into another, where there was a woman possessed with a devil, in whom Satan, that cursed rebel, had taken up his abode. One night, when she went to fetch water, she could neither endure her clothes on, nor be in any house. But as often as they tied her with chains or cords, she brake them, and went out into the desert places, and sometimes standing where roads crossed, and in churchyards, would throw stones at men. When St. Mary saw this woman, she pitied her, whereupon Satan presently left her, and fled away in the form of a young man, saying, Woe to me because of thee, Mary, and thy son. So the woman was delivered from her torment. But considering herself naked, she blushed, and avoiding seeing any man, and having put on her clothes, went home, and gave account of her case to her father and relations, who, as they were best of the city, entertained St. Mary and Joseph with greatest respect. The next morning, having received a sufficient supply of provisions for the road, they went from them, and about the evening of the day arrived at another town, where a marriage was being held about to be solemnized. But by the arts of Satan and the practice of some sorcerers, the bride was become so dumb that she could not so much as open her mouth. But when this dumb bride saw the Lady St. Mary entering into the town, and carrying Yahusha HaMashiach in her arms, she stretched out her hands to Yeshua HaMashiach, and took him in her arms, and closely hugging him, very often kissed him, continually moving him, and pressing him to her body. Straightway the string of her tongue was loosed, and her ears were opened, and she began to sing praises unto Yah, who had restored her. So there was a great joy among the inhabitants of that town that night, who thought that Yah and his angels were come down among them. Place they abode 3 days, meeting with great respect and most splendid entertainment, and being then furnished by the people with provisions for the road, they departed and went to another city, in which they were inclined to lodge, because it was a famous place. There was in the city a gentle woman, who, as she went down one day to the river to bathe, behold, cursed Satan leaped upon her in the form of a serpent, and folded himself about her belly, and every night lay upon her. This woman, seeing the Lady St. Mary and Yahusha HaMashiach, the infant in her bosom, asked the Lady St. Mary that she would give her the child to kiss and carry in her arms. And when she had consented, and as soon as the woman had moved the child, Satan left her and fled away, nor did the woman ever afterwards see him. Hereupon all the neighbors praised the supreme Yah, and the woman rewarded them with ample benefit. On the morrow the same woman brought perfumed water to wash Yahusha, and when she had washed him, she preserved the water. And there was a girl there, whose body was white with a leprosy, who, being sprinkled with this water and washed, was instantly cleansed from her leprosy. The people therefore said, without doubt Joseph and Mary and that boy are Yahs, for they do not look like mortals. And when they were making ready to go away, the girl, who had been troubled with the leprosy, came and desired they would permit her to go along with them. So they consented, and the girl went with them till they came to a city, in which was the palace of a great king, whose house was not far from the inn. Here they stayed, and when the girl went out one day to the prince's wife, and found her in a sorrowful and mournful condition, she asked her the reason of her tears. She replied, "Wonder not at my groans, for I am under a great misfortune, of which I dare not tell any one. But," says the girl, "if you will entrust me with your private grievance, perhaps I may find you a remedy for it." "Thou, therefore," says the prince's wife, "shall keep the secret, and not discover it to any one alive. I have been married to this prince, who rules a king over large dominions, and lived long with him before he had any child with me. At length I conceived by him, but alas! I brought forth a leprous son, which, when he saw, he would not own to be his, but said to me, Either do thou kill him, or send him to some nurse in such a place, that he may never be heard of. And now take care of yourself. I will never see you any more. So here I pine, lamenting my wretched and miserable circumstances. Alas, my son! Alas, my husband! Have I disclosed it to you?" The girl replied, "I have found a remedy for your disease, which I promise you, for I also was leprous, but Yah hath cleansed me, even he who is called Yahusha, the son of the Lady Mary." the woman inquiring where that Yah was, whom she spoke of, and the girl answered, He lodges with you here in the same house. But how can this be? Says she. Where is he? Behold, replied the girl, Joseph and Mary, and the infant who is with them is called Yahusha, and it is he who has delivered me from my disease and torment. But what means, says she, were you cleansed from your leprosy? Will you not tell me that? Why not, says the girl. I took the water in which his body had been washed and poured it upon me, and my leprosy vanished. The prince's wife then arose and entertained them, providing a great feast for Joseph among a large company of men, and the next day took perfumed water to wash the Lord Yahusha, and afterwards poured the same water upon her son, whom she had brought with her, and her son was instantly cleansed from his leprosy. Then she sang thanks and praises unto Yah, and said, Blessed is the mother that bare thee, O Yahusha. Dost thou thus cure men of the same nature with thyself, and the water with which thy body is washed? She then offered very large gifts to the Lady Mary, and sent her away with all imaginable respect. Chapter 7. A man who could not enjoy his wife, freed from his disorder. A young man who had been bewitched and turned into a mule, miraculously cured by Yahusha, put on his back, and is married to the girl who had been cured of leprosy. They came afterwards to another city, and had a mind to lodge there. Accordingly they went to a man's house, who was newly married, but by influence of sorcerers could not enjoy his wife. But they lodging at his house that night, the man was freed of this disorder, and when they were preparing early in the morning to go forward on their journey, the new married person hindered them, and provided a noble entertainment for them. But going forward on the morrow, they came to another city, and saw three women going in from a certain grave with great weeping. When St. Mary saw them, she spake to the girl who was their companion, saying, Go inquire of them, what is the matter with them, and what misfortune has befallen them. When the girl asked them, they made her no answer. By them stood a mule, covered over with silk, an ebony collar hanging down from his neck, whom they kissed and were feeding. But when the girl said, How handsome, ladies, that the mule is, they replied with tears, and said, This mule which you see was our brother, born of the same mother as we. For when our father died and left us a very large estate, we had only this brother, and we endeavored to procure him a suitable match, and thought he would be married as other men. Some giddy and jealous woman bewitched him without our knowledge, and we, one night, a little before day, while the doors of our house were all fast shut, saw this our brother was changed into a mule, such as you see him to be. And we, in the melancholy condition in which you see us, have no father to comfort us, have applied to all the wise men, magicians, diviners in the world, but they have been of no service to us. As often, therefore, as we find ourselves oppressed with grief, we rise and go with this our mother to our father's tomb, where, when we have cried sufficiently, we return home. When the girl had heard this, she said, Take courage, cease your fears, for you have remedy for your afflictions near at hand, even among you, in the midst of your house. For I was also a leprous, but when I saw this woman, and this little infant with her, whose name is Yahusha, I sprinkled my body with the water in which his mother had washed him, and I was presently made well. And I am certain that he is also capable of relieving you under your distress. Wherefore, arise, go to my mistress Mary, and when you have brought her into your own parlor, disclose to her the secret, at the same time earnestly beseeching her to be compassionate your case. And as soon as the women had heard the girl's discourse, they hastened away to the Lady St. Mary, introduced themselves to her, and sitting down before her, they wept, and said, O our Lady St. Mary, pity your handmaids, for we have no head of our family, no one older than us, no father or brother to go in and out before us. But this mule, which you see, was our brother, which some women by witchcraft have brought into this condition which you see. We therefore entreat you to compassionate us. Hereupon St. Mary was grieved at their case, and taking Yahusha Hamashiach, put him upon the back of the mule, and said to her son, O Yahusha Hamashiach, restore or heal according to thy extraordinary power this mule, and grant him to have again the shape of a man, and a rational creature, as he had formerly. This was scarce said by the Lady St. Mary, but the mule immediately passed into a human form, and became a young man without any deformity. Then he and his mother and the sisters worshipped the Lady St. Mary, and lifted the child upon their heads. They kissed him, and said, Blessed is thy mother, O Yah, O Saviour of the world. Blessed are the eyes which are so happy to see thee. Then both the sisters told their mothers, saying, Of a truth our brother is restored to his former shape by the help of the Lord Yahusha Hamashiach, and the kindness of that girl who told us of Mary her son. And inasmuch as our brother is unmarried, it is fit that we marry him to this girl their servant. When they had consulted Mary in this manner, she had given her consent, and they made a splendid wedding for this girl. And so their sorrow being turned into gladness, and their mourning into mirth, they began to rejoice, and to make merry, and to sing, being dressed in their richest attire with bracelets. Afterwards they glorified and praised Yah, saying, O Yahusha, son of David, who changes sorrow into gladness, mourning into mirth. After this, Joseph and Mary tarried there 10 days, then went away, having received great respect from those people, who, when they took their leave of them, returned home and cried, but especially the girl. Chapter 8. Joseph and Mary passed through a country infested by robbers. Titus, a humane thief, offers Dumachus, his comrade, 40 groats to let Joseph and Mary pass unmolested. Yahuwah HaMashiach prophesies that the thieves, Dumachus and Titus, shall be crucified with him, and that Titus shall go before him into paradise. Christ causes a well to spring from a sycamore tree, and Mary washes his coat in it. A balsam grows there from his sweet. They go to Memphis, where Christ works there more miracles, and return to Judea. Being warned, depart for Nazareth. In their journey from hence they came into a desert country, and were told it was infested with robbers. So Joseph and St. Mary prepared to pass through it in the night. And as they were going along, behold, they saw 2 robbers asleep in the road, and with them a great number of robbers, who were their confederates, also asleep. The name of these 2 were Titus and Damascus. And Titus said to Damascus, I beseech thee, let these persons go along quietly, that our company may not perceive anything of them. But Damascus refusing, Titus again said, I will give thee 40 groats, and as a pledge take my girdle. Which he gave him he had done speaking, that he might not open his mouth and make a noise. When the Lady St. Mary saw the kindness which this robber did show them, she said to him, The Lord Yah will receive thee to his right hand, and grant thee pardon of thy sins. Then the Lord Yahusha Amashiach answered and said to his mother, When 30 years are expired, O mother, the Jews will crucify me at Jerusalem. And these 2 thieves shall be with me at the same time upon the cross, Titus on my right hand, and Demarchus on my left. And from that time Titus go before me into paradise. And when she had said, Yah forbid this should be thy lot, O my son, they went to a city in which were several idols, which, as soon as they came near to it, was turned into a hill of sands. Hence they went to that sycamore tree, which is now called Matariah. And in Matariah the Lord Yahusha Hamashiach caused a well to spring forth, in which Saint Mary washed his coat. And a balsam is produced, or grows, in that country from the sweat which ran down there from the Lord Yahusha. Thence they proceeded to Memphis, and saw Pharaoh, and abode there 3 years in Egypt. And the Lord Yahusha Hamashiach did very many miracles in Egypt, which are neither to be found in the gospel of the infancy, nor in the gospel of perfection. At the end of 3 years he returned out of Egypt, and when he came near to Judas, Joseph was afraid to enter. For hearing that Herod was dead, and that Archelaus his son reigned in his stead, he was afraid. And when he went to Judea, an angel of Yah appeared to him, and said, O Joseph, go into the city of Nazareth, and abide there. It is strange indeed that he who is the Lord of all country should be thus carried backwards and forwards through so many countries. Thank you, saints, for watching. I hope you return. We have completed 8 out of 22. Yah willing, I will be creating more till completion. Till next time, keep strong, put on the whole armor of Yah, Ephesians 6, verses 10 through 18. All praises to the Most High Yah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Shalom. All praises to the Most High Yah. Remember, family, bring the truth to your door, and peace will follow.